Hello everyone watching on YouTube and listening on Spotify. It's another episode of NRG Insights. At the moment we're doing a lender series, so we're speaking to people, affluent members, influential members of the lender market. I don't know your personal bank balance, so affluent's probably the wrong word. Influential members of the lender market, just to get their take on the market, how things are going, any kind of tips for brokers and that kind of thing. So today I've got Michael Allison, who is the Commercial Director at Roma. So thanks for coming on, Michael.
No problem at all. Hello, how are you?
Yeah, really good, thank you, mate. So let's just start with, let's talk about your financial services journey. So how did you get to where you are now? Talk me through that. Brief one, because I know, we're old men now, we can't be going through the whole CV.
No. Well, listen, 20 odd years ago, I was looking for a job and I saw an advert in the paper, which is where you used to find jobs back then.
I heard about that.
And it was, yeah. So I went I had a look in the back and it says customer services. I thought I could do on the phones. It turns out it was a collections agent job for a car finance company. And that was the first time I'd ever been involved in financial services. So I plugged myself in on the phone, dealt with people about not paying the bills on the cars and quickly got to grips with the whole, I think, how you speak to people, understanding people's situations. And I had a look around me and thought, well, do I want to be on the phones for the rest of my life or do I want to start working towards something? So next step was senior collector. Next step was a team leader and then team manager. And then I ended up getting to a point where I moved to HBOS for a small bit to do some collections there, to manage the collections department. Then I moved to Together in 2007. So, and then I was at Together for 14 years. It was very exciting times. It was difficult, but obviously I think the business focus came towards collections. Mm-hmm. So I started in collections Together, managing the commercial collections team, then grew there to be head of commercial collections over a period of time. Then the world changed again. And because I've always prided myself on trying to understand the business, where it comes from, not just being at the back end, because collections has a bit of probably doesn't have the best internal brand in a company from time to time. So I made sure that and then I had the opportunity to lead the underwriting department. So I switched from, is it poacher term gatekeeper or whatever the phrase is. So I took the skill set into there, leadership and also...
Do you think that helped? Do you think that helped moving over, that you understood the other side of the business?
Yeah, I think it did. To be honest, at first, I think it made me too cautious. Yeah. Because when you're in collections, your vision is the ones that went wrong. And if you've got a small, you've got big low...
You don't see the others, there's loads that...
All the guys, they can be redeeming. So maybe it made me overcautious at first, but certainly it helped me have a different dialogue with the underwriters. So over time, then I started to learn about the underwriting, commerciality, and taking that view. And then I did a bit of change management. So I had a change and training team together. And then I was commercial underwriting manager until I joined Roma. And then I joined Roma 3 years ago. Transformational change. Then operations director, which was... again, enabled me to do the underwriting and the collections, so the customer journey. And then we had a restructure last year, and I thought, you know what, I've not done any sales yet. So now I'm the commercial director. So that means I'll have been across collections, customer services, training. So I've done it. I've got all my badges.
Then you've completed it.
But yeah, you know what? That's my next goal at some point. Yeah, definitely. So
obviously covering all those sides of the business has helped you dramatically, and without blowing smoke up your arse, when you speak to people about great people managers, your name does come up. I think you've been really good at that across the board, and that's kind of known in the industry. One of the main reasons I want to get you on, I think it's really important. But what do you think the traits are that kind of separates you from the crowd, if you like? Because obviously you've had that good trajectory. This is having to talk about yourself in a positive way. I know not everyone's comfortable about it, but you've had a really positive trajectory throughout your career, and that is down to the way you've led yourself, right? So I'm interested in that. What you think has been the difference maker? Yeah,
there's no work version of myself. The version I am at work is the version I am at home.
Yeah,
it's the version I am when I finally get to see my mates for a pint. I'm the same. It's the authenticity has always been a big thing for me. Yeah, and you see people. There's no point reading 1 Minute Manager in the Monkey and then completely transforming your management style and your leadership style. Or who moved my ice and cheese? Right, I'm going to be like that guy in the book. It's about being authentic and sometimes not be afraid to make mistakes. Yeah, own a mistake. The amount of times I've probably I dwell more on the mistakes than I do on the successes, which is why this bit of conversation is probably a bit difficult. But
Yeah.
it's just own it, because you can't redo it, can you? Just got to take it in.
Yeah.
And at the back of it, there's always got to be. I've still got to think back to 2001, when I first started on the phones. What was I looking for when I first started out? What was helping me? Is it the person how do people interact?
Yeah.
And then watching leaders above you and around you, I think I wouldn't do that.
I was going to say, do you think it was born from great leaders, or do you think it's born from the ones that are a little bit shit and you try not to emulate them when you grow, or is it kind of a mix of the two?
I think it's a mix of the two. I've worked for some fantastic leaders in our industry, and what they've been able to do is give me a viewpoint of what good looks like. And I've worked for some poor ones, and they've been able to give me a viewpoint of what not to do. And I think it's about mashing those two together. But it's about being authentic to myself, and then realising that what lights my fire doesn't light your fire, and what lights your fire doesn't light the person next to you. So you've got to be authentic. You've got to be personalised. Leadership is key.
Let's touch on that personalised leadership, right? Because it's tough, right? Because we all want to be Alex Ferguson, right? When he trains everyone differently, he speaks to everyone differently. But realistically, you've got a big team.
Yeah.
You physically don't have the time to look after everyone individually and treat everyone individually. How do you build that? You still got to keep everyone as one as a manager, but you've also got to add that kind of personal touch to everyone. How hard is that, or how do you go about it? Just even on a time issue, but also just maintaining the business pro quo is tough.
Well, maybe that's one of the quirks that I've got, is I have got a decent memory.
Yeah.
And I do like to talk to people. The best part of your day as a leader, when you're in the office, is the good morning check. Make sure I sort of sit near the door. Everyone who comes in, it's good morning by name, and you can see the way that someone walks in tells you, are they carrying a bit of baggage into work?
Yeah.
Are they carrying a bit of success into work? And sometimes that might navigate to think, I need to catch up with that person, X, Y, Z. But and that's one thing. Trying to remember everything about everyone is difficult. So what you've got to do is share a bit about yourself.
Yeah.
You've got to share a bit about yourself. You've got to make sure that people know that what your family situation is, what you like, what you don't like. And let them also talk to you and have a bit of personalised interaction, because try to sort of fencing yourself off from a team. I mean, I don't overshare with anyone. You know, I'm quite a private person, but I do share about me, what does light my fire, what don't I like, all that kind of stuff. And if you do that, you're enabling people to come and talk to you as well.
Do you think that's part of the talent of the leadership, is that breaking down the barrier of not having that? Well, the barrier between management and not is that they can come to you as a person, if you like, rather than just a boss.
Yeah, but listen, leadership's two things, isn't it? It's a set of tasks, and that's your management. And as long as everyone's clear, there's a job description, and I am responsible for this set of tasks, you're responsible for that set of tasks. Don't confuse that with how I should interact with you, how I should carry myself, how I should be in a meeting. That's me.
Yeah.
And that's me. So getting me away from the tasks, a job description is all that fine. I am no better than the person who's just started in our business. I am no better at their job than them. They're no better than me. We've both got a different set of tasks that we do. My title's different, and my tasks carry more responsibility. That's it. It doesn't mean I'm a better person. It doesn't mean I'm cleverer than them. It means that to get this ship steered in the right direction, I've got to do this. You've got to do that. But the bit that's in between is the human touch. So let's be human about it, and let's have a bit like if me and you were pals. You know, when we were going out, we'd have boundaries. We'd have things that I'm happy to talk to you about.
Yeah.
I don't just have boundaries. Just be a normal person. Just be a human about it.
Yeah. Obviously, and again, not blowing smoke. It obviously comes naturally to you, not having to think about being a manager type rather than a leader. Do you know what I mean? Like it just comes naturally. You can tell when you talk about people that it's not something you have to work on, or maybe it is. I don't. Do you work on it or not? Is it literally just this is how I am and it works well for me?
Oh, you always have to work on it. One of the things I do wrong quite regularly is I try and solve all the problems. And I might dominate the conversation a little bit, and I might do it in a nice way.
Yeah.
I'm still smiling, but I'm giving all the solutions.
I'm a nightmare for that as well. That's why I'm not a good coach. Because a coach is different from a manager in the sense that they ask them how to do it and they keep doing it until they get it right. I just think I can fix that in 2 seconds. Why are we talking about it? And I know it's absolutely wrong, isn't it? But that resonates with me completely, because I know you should sit back and let them, because you're not helping anyone, fixing everyone's problems. No one's growing if you're fixing everything. But at the same time, you can do it. So yeah, I completely get that.
It's tough, isn't it? One of the hardest things is I've got a daughter, teaching them to tie the shoelaces. It's easier just to buy Velcro trainers for the rest of their life. It's easier to do it for yourself, but at some point you just have to let go. You've got to do it, and you've got to let it go through. There's all those things that we do in life that you can reflect in work and reflect back in your life from work. But I have that tendency, because I get excited about a problem. Sometimes I quite like a problem because it gets me away from that set of defined tasks. It's something exciting.
Yeah.
I've got to be careful that I don't dominate that discussion. And as I've moved up in a role, people will allow you to dominate that discussion because of your position.
How do you do it? This is a personal bit of learning here, but how do you do it? How do you learn to stop the help? Because that sounds stupid, like, I'm just too helpful. Like, when you give a really shit interview and they go, oh, what's your biggest weakness? Oh, I'm just too helpful. But you know what I mean? It is a genuine problem. Like, it's a trait that doesn't help people grow. So how do you get over that? How do you
one of the big things, I think one thing that I've done is speak to the team around you, be it your peers or be it your direct reports, and be a bit vulnerable and say, listen, I know that one of my traits is this, because sometimes you have to give people feedback on their traits. I know one of my traits is I dominate a discussion. Don't be afraid to pull me up on it, because and actually invite somebody to stop, because you know, Marcus, you can't stop mid-flow.
No.
Once you're in it, you're mid-flow. You're solutionising. You're here. You're there. But you've only fixed it the way that you should fix it. I haven't learned anything.
Yeah.
All I've done is done what I've always done. I haven't learned anything. So empower people to give you that feedback, to say, that's great. Can you show me how to? Can I say that? Shut up.
Yeah. I get that. I get that in the office, right? Because I said that's exactly the same for me. My biggest problem is interrupting and just going like, okay, I know what you're going to say next. Here you go. Here's the solution. And you've got to just do this. But it gets easier, right? Hopefully.
Well, no, it doesn't. Because take it all the way back. It's being authentic.
Yeah.
That's who you are. Don't get rid of that. Don't desensitize you from it.
It's also what makes you great as well, right? It's the Rooney effect. If you took away the fact he was an angry get, you probably wouldn't be a great footballer, but he'd get less red cards. I always liken it to that. What makes you great also probably makes you, not perfect.
Yeah, and do you know what? There's no such thing as a perfect leader. There isn't. There's a good leader and a bad leader. And the outcome of that is either the results they drive or how they make people feel.
Yeah.
But then that is all different to how people are receptive of that. For me, know your weaknesses. Rooney knew his weaknesses. Still didn't stop the red mist falling. Still didn't stop him, headbutting Ronaldo in the back of the head, whatever he did. It didn't stop him doing any of that. But he did it less and less because he became more and more aware of it.
Yeah.
But don't lose your authenticity. There's nothing worse than a textbut manager.
Yeah. I say that when everyone's moaning at me interrupting, I go, don't make me lose my authenticity. How it works.
But if that authenticity means that you're not right for what you're doing, you know yourself, the world that you live in. Well, I had this conversation with somebody before. What is more important, experience or personality? And because you can teach experience.
Yeah.
You can't harness hunger. You can't. There were people I started with 23 years ago on the phones who are probably retiring on the phones, and that's fine for them. And they might even be at the same business for all I know. And that's fine for them, and they've grown.
And if they love it and they're happy.
And I never wanted that. I wanted more, and where I am now, I still want more. But so how? But I'm a commercial director. I haven't got any sales experience.
Yeah.
I've got a knowledge of the
And
marketplace.
it's the people experience as well, right? Because you're not directly selling. You're managing the people that are
I'm
selling
an
your products,
organizer.
aren't they? Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
an organizer. That's essentially, I think, what I've learned through life is if you're a good ops person and a good with leadership skills, you can actually do anything,
Yeah.
any role.
Do you think
Because it's
that
all
is?
about
Can you boil
organising.
it down to organizer? Because I boil mine down to cheerleader. I'm shit at organisation, but I'm great at. So that means I have to work on the tough conversations. But I'm great at geeing people up. I'm great at going out. I'm great at being passionate about someone else's business. I love it. You can see I love it when I talk about it. But it's a bit depressing when you do it at first. You go, "Oh, I'm a cheerleader." Like that's not. You want to be like the driven visionary, don't you? You know, that's like everyone's goal when you're running a business and that kind of thing. But actually, knowing what you're good at is that self-awareness is probably more important.
It is. I think at the end of the day, it's about, for me, a visionary is a big thing. Everybody's a visionary. Everybody has a vision of something.
Yeah.
Even the people who stayed on the phone, their vision was to do X, and it might be outside of work, and that's perfect. Everybody wants to get better, whatever they're doing. For me, I'm quite a good storyteller. You know, I love a good anecdote. I love a good,
Yeah.
you know, I've got them all up my sleeve, ready for any moment. You know, I'm a good storyteller, and that
Do you think
probably
that's
does.
the way you grew up? Like, because I grew up watching my dad hold a room because
Yeah.
he's a great storyteller. He was fantastic. You go to a barbecue and there'd be 10 blokes, and I was always in awe of him doing that. And then you do it when you're older and you see it, and you think, oh shit, that's just a trait that I learned off someone who could do it at barbecue. You know what I mean? I think it's an amazing skill to have as well.
I'm from a family of good storytellers. You know, we always used to love talking about the time that somebody did X.
Yeah, yeah.
And we still laugh at about the same jokes that the same stories my uncle tells about being on a building site in 1980s Liverpool. And he talks about and we still laugh at the same point. You know,
We know them all off by heart, don't we? But they get better. Well, they get embellished as the years go on for comedic value.
oh
That's
God, yeah.
yeah.
But I think being that storyteller helps people, you know, buy into the vision and being a good speaker. But visionary is one thing. Going back to what I'm saying, it is all about organising. Doesn't mean, you know, my inbox is not organised.
Yeah.
Fact.
I was going to say, are you an organised person by like your general traits? Would you say you're that side of your brain is strong, or organised when you're just really good at making sure everyone's doing the right thing?
Just all about the goal.
Yeah.
What's the end goal? You know, what's the end goal? It's probably one of the things, you know, we talked about football, probably one of the things that's turning me off football a bit these days. It's too organised. You know, everything's regimented in boxes. You've got to do X and micro manage. Actually, the end goal is to score more goals than the other team.
Yeah.
That's it. So if you keep your end goal nice and clear, the end goal I've got at Roma is to grow us to here.
Yeah.
And then you tell a story and you paint a vision of how we're going to get there. And then behind it, you surround yourself with the right people. I'm not ultra organised. I'm not disorganised. I'm just you know, I know what night the bin goes out. I know what recycling bin things go in. I don't know how to work the washing machine.
That's a skill in itself. Yeah. Knowing what bin it is, so what? That's a commercial director's trait. That should put on your CV. I've never got a clue. You should look outside it.
Yeah. So I think it's a hard one when somebody asks you how and what.
I don't know. It does make people uncomfortable because you have to look at yourself. No one likes going, "Oh, it's because I'm amazing." But it is really interesting to hear the differences people say as to why they are good leaders. Because there's so many different traits, right? There's so many different leaders and way to lead. But that connectivity with people, I think, is the main main driver for people that carry on their careers like you have.
Yeah, I think it's all about. I think the version they'd get from me and work will be the same if we went on holiday together. It'd be the same if they came around our house for dinner. I am me, and it's got its flaws and it's got its positives. You know,
everyone knows what they're going to get, right? I think it's the same as social media nowadays. You've got to be the same person, haven't you? Like it's really easy to be unauthentic on social media because you can think about it before you put it out.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't just come out your mouth. And I speak to people and I think, God, you're not the same person. Well, hopefully, I'm a knobhead on social media, so hopefully people appreciate that one.
That's not the word I'd use. I'd say you were authentic and consistent.
Yeah, that guy is authentic. It's like calling someone the salt of the earth. It's never a compliment. It's authentic.
Authentic is a good. I suppose backtrack about it. Just standard, normal. It's
Normal,
normal.
but yeah, that's what you want to be, isn't it? There's no like,
Yeah.
it makes it easier for people to connect to you, I think, if you're the same, both sides. Otherwise it's weird.
It does, but I suppose as well, you've always got to keep an eye on has what is authentic to me and the way I carry myself. It has that got a shelf life because people 10 years either way of your age range, you kind of find that balance.
Yeah.
Doing it with a 20-year-old or a 60 or 70 or whatever that is, there's older people staying in the workforce,
Yeah,
there's
yeah.
people joining younger. That connection, it's gets difficult and needs to be worked on the more that things go. And then obviously you've got the different different personas that people have now. You've got to stay and you've got to educate yourself sometimes and be ready to take that step back.
How easy is that as a manager? Because I haven't, like, my team here, we're a relatively small team, there's only 8 of us, but we're all of similar age. I mean, it ranges from 33 to 43. We are looking at bringing in a younger generation. And you're right. I mean, for instance, and I've gone off on a tangent here, but I think I've got the easiest job in the world because I'm speaking to a 40-year-old man about growing businesses. I'm a 40-year-old man that's going to grow a business. I couldn't connect with people at a better time in their life. I'm in my prime. In 10 years' time, I'm going to speak into 30-year-olds, and it's going to be a little bit different. And you know what I mean? We're not going to have the same connection. So you've got to bring in that younger generation. But my question is, how do you kind of connect with them? Because it's so different now. Even the way you have to manage people, how do you kind of stay relevant in the management market when you're dealing with a younger generation?
That's hard. What I don't do is I don't go away and watch Love Island and Married at First Sight, so I have something to talk about.
Chat about YouTube. Yeah.
I don't do that. I still watch, whatever I watch, the hairy bikers and all that stuff. But I suppose it's about being open and still being authentic. And you tend to find something that what they might be more is intimidated by age. And I have pulled myself, I've got it wrong so many times, Marcus, where I've gone, well, when I was 21, what I did is I turned up early, I did extra duties without any pay, I learned and I got myself a mentor and I made sure I was top of the charts. I've now turned into, I've got to be careful, I've now turned into the 45-year-old guy when I was 21. Well, what I used to do is I used to cycle to, you end up going back down.
I said this to someone yesterday. I said, I'm having this chat and I sound like an old man in my head.
Yeah.
Because I'm going, try and get these guys to actually pick up the phone or whatever it is. But they're just built different, right? So, they've grown up different. So we grew up in the pub talking to someone. They've grown up on social media. So you have to accept that. But at the same time, and they'll be selling to their peers, right, when they're older.
Yeah.
So it's not going to be the same. But
I suppose what you say to them is, take that time, invest that time to have a conversation with them. And if you're a very good person at understanding people, you're a good conversationalist yourself, you'll pick something up. There's something somewhere. What are they looking to achieve? What are they looking to get? What are they looking to get? Why are they in the business? Where do they want to be? Why are they in the industry? Where have they travelled from today? There's something you can do because it's up to us to break down a barrier to find their level.
I think that's really important about breaking down the barrier because they're not going to change. We have to. Like, we're becoming the dinosaurs, so you've got to change. The generations are going to change for us. If we want to employ younger people, we've got to adapt.
Yeah, when you was 21 or 22, there was no way you're going to change the way you are just to converse with a 45-year-old.
Yeah, I want to be like a 40-year-old bloke, said no one ever.
All you used to think is, I want his car, I want his office, I want his wage. That's all you think.
I don't want to be like him.
You certainly didn't want the kids. You certainly didn't want the centre parts instead of IB Fair, all that stuff. You didn't want any of that. You wanted them three things. But all we've got to do is we just got to be the enabler to enable people to get what they want from the business, as long as they're going to put something back in. Yeah. And that's the missing ingredient from time to time. It's the social currency. Scott, who's our MD at Roma, he has a good saying about relationships, which is always put in more than you expect to get out, and you'll never be disappointed.
Yeah.
So actually, if you think about that as every social interaction, if you put that bit more in, you leave people with a better feeling than if you're closed and waiting for them to come in. If you're living with a better feeling, they'll meet you halfway down the street.
Yeah.
You'll find out more about the individual. You'll find out more about the relationship. You'll grow it. And that's effort goes a long way. Effort, authenticity,
Right.
a
It's
couple of them
focusing
together.
on that relationship rather than that transaction as well, right? Like, what can I get from them? We kind of, I suppose you missed the point. So, I mean, you've got to have a call to action, right? We've all got to make money.
Yes.
We've all got to do something. We've all got to be commercially minded. At the same time, if we think of everything as a commercial transaction, then we get nowhere.
No, you got to think about, leave yourself in it. Listen, I go to work because I need to. That's the first. I'll be honest with you. I don't jump out of bed on a Monday morning and cartwheel down the stairs and say, "Here we go." Yeah, you know, I don't have an ice. But what I do is I love to watch the example I set for my daughter.
Yeah.
I love to see the pride in my mum and dad's eyes. You know, when they talk about what I'm doing, and so that's my reason for going. And you know, payday, and it pays for the life that we have. That's why I go to work, and I'm comfortable saying that.
Yeah.
I'm actually comfortable. Earlier on, you said, "Well, one day MD." Said, yeah, I would.
Yeah.
But I would not lose them three things that I love to do.
Yeah.
And the reason I go to work, I'm not. If I could so easily come on here, I mean, you're from a recruitment background, I could say, I love driving for results. I love building a business, and that is my ultimate aim. And I will be here at 5 o'clock in the morning till 10 o'clock at night. It's not me. That's why I say it.
Yeah.
That's why I say it. I love being at home with my family. We move near the beach. I love going for an ice cream and walk down the beach after work.
Yeah.
So I make sure that I do my job, and I do my job well, to allow me to do that.
I think that's the difference as well, and you appreciate that if you work really hard in the time that you've got to do your job, you can enjoy those other things. I think it can't be both. I think I'm going to say younger generation now again, like I'm getting an old. Sorry today. But there's a lot of people that are expecting quite a lot from the businesses now. I imagine we speak to a lot of younger generation where they've heard that they know their value. For business, they don't really know what that is yet. I think it's quite important that you've put a lot in, right, to get that privilege of being able to go for beach walks with your kids. There is an element of just thinking, I don't want to say entitlement because again I sound like the old man, but you know what I mean. People are coming into work going, you know, what can you do for me? I think that changed quite a lot.
It has, but it also challenges it as well to say is that one of the things I said, I got in early. When I was on the phones, I'd get in early. I'd take on extra duties for no extra thing, just to get the best one-to-one and the best results.
Yeah.
That was it. But that was what I thought I needed to do to get ahead. But actually, I gave to the business a load of unpaid effort.
Oh, hours, yeah.
But that business I didn't benefit from that business giving me the unpaid effort.
But you have benefited from it in the sense that you get the step
20
up.
years on.
Yeah.
20 years on, I benefit from it. So sometimes it's that you can be you can be penny rich and pound poor. Mm-hmm. If it's all about, if you put it in, don't expect immediate rewards. Expect that it builds a mentality in yourself. It builds a steel in yourself. That actually, what happens is over time that gap narrows through the. I still turn up early. I like to do that. It's a trait of mine now.
Yeah.
I still take on extra duties, but over time that thing narrows. If you think that if 2001, I thought I'm going to start on the phones, I'll be a team manager by this time, I'll be commercial director by 3 years time. It doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Just got to be realistic. But so there's a point where you're talking about that younger generation. You've got to set that expectation.
It's really hard to set that expectation when people in a generation that is fixated on short-term wins, though.
Yeah.
Short-term gratification because they see it. I mean, it's a YouTube thing, right? Where you see the guy, he started work last week and he's a millionaire. So it's very hard to explain to them. Like, actually, it's hard graft and you have to put quite a bit in. I think, and I'm not saying it's their fault. I'm saying it's what they see every day. My kids see it every day. They watch these guys apparently making a fortune doing next to nothing. So, and it's drilled into them. So it's hard for us as managers to then, can't drill into them the other way. You have to kind of softly, but it's tough, right?
Definitely, but you don't get a degree the first day you turn up at university. You don't get a GCSE when you go into reception at school. It's all about levelling and time and effort that needs to go in. And there will be some kids, unfortunately, if that's the mindset, that's fine. But you've then got to decide, is that the mindset for your business?
Yeah.
Because what you want, if you're a growth business, you want a growth mindset. You want people who understand that it shouldn't, it's took me a lot longer because I didn't come straight in from university onto a graduate scheme and do all that it's took me a lot of phones slammed down on me by customers and, late nights and all that kind of stuff. It took me a lot longer, but I finally got to a point where I think, well, actually that was worth the journey.
Yeah.
But if somebody doesn't want to put in the hat, don't be afraid to say your skills might match it, but your wills don't. So I don't think that's right for our business. Don't be afraid to say it, because sometimes a nice little reality check for people, that might be what's not right for you might be right for another business.
Yeah.
And everyone will find the way. Everybody will find.
We say that with everyone, right? We can't place most of the people we speak to. That's not to say they're not placeable. It's just with our clients, it's not going to work. But there is a place for everyone. But
there is. I mean, I read your post the other day about the two different types of people who work from home.
Yeah.
The ones who are hammering it all day.
Yeah.
And the ones who like to have the cup. That's fine. There is a place for everybody to do it. Your mindset is probably like mine. You're with the one who are on it all day, burning through calls, burning through this and burning through that. That's right. But as long as you understand that that's the culture of your business, and you're recruiting on culture and you're recruiting on personality, not just experience.
Work ethic is part of culture, right? I think you learn that more and more. Yeah. Work ethic is part of it. Culture seems to be at the moment like beanbags and ping pong tables, but work ethic is a really important part of how you build something. That everyone in our business knows that we work really hard to get the right result for our customers. That's kind of the be all and end all. But
your customers appreciate your hard work.
Yeah.
You absolutely. Culture isn't just about an engagement score. Tells you how colleagues are engaged. That's fine. That's their score. It's not a management tool. That's their score. So turn the lens around and say, so how do you get more engaged then? What can we do to help? But instead of we've scored low on this particular metric, what are we going to do to fix it? Back to how I fix it. What are we going to do to fix it for all these people so they feel better? No, you're not engaged with it. What are you going to do? How do you get more engaged with it? Because this is the business. This is what we're looking to achieve. If there's a common theme around training, what do you need? What should it look like? If there's a common theme around comms, sorry, I thought we were communicating to you. How should it be? What do we do? How do you get more engaged? Culture, your customers will appreciate your hard work more than they'll appreciate your approach to flexible working.
Yeah.
Your colleagues will appreciate the flexible working, and therefore they will work hard.
Yeah.
As long as it's about finding that right balance. But hard work and effort is the founding pillar of every business. It's the founding pillar of every person.
Yeah.
Because hard work and effort, we're graded on that from the day we start school.
Yeah.
When I got my school reports, my attainment, you had an attainment and effort score.
Yeah.
My mum and dad were actually not really ever bothered about the attainment.
Yeah.
If the effort was low, if your effort's high and your attainment's low, you're where you should be.
Yeah.
And you're working as hard as you can. And that's what it's got to be for everyone. Effort over everything.
Do you know what? I saw really good, there's some data on that as well recently. I can't remember it word for word, but it was about telling your children, well done because you're intelligent, or well done because you put in the most effort. And the kids that were told well done for the effort flew, and the ones that were told well done, well, you got that because you're intelligent, didn't ever get any better. They plateaued at intelligent. Whereas if you tell your kids you did that really well because you worked hard at it, they end up much further on in life. It's really interesting to see that effort over intelligence is, it's a huge factor.
When I go right off on tangents here, but when I go parenting, me and Tara, the first thing we look for from our daughter is effort and manners.
Yeah.
If those two, because that's really what you want. And if her effort's high and her manners are great and her score in maths is below the quote, she's where she is, isn't she?
Yeah.
And is there any tools we can do to help her better? Certainly not do her homework for her.
Give me that. I've got 4 kids. It's so much easier. Give me that. Although I have to pass the maths back again and go, do you know what? I think you should do that.
Yeah, but it's, and those are things. And I think if you actually, back to your original question about being authentic, if it is effort that you're putting in and you are where you are and your acceptance of that and you own it, then you're being authentic, aren't you? Because
Yeah.
you're almost contented that you're being the right version of yourself. You haven't got all these masks and all this kind of stuff.
Good. Do you know what? We've talked about the leadership and thing for 35 minutes. That was amazing. I could talk to you about it all day because I think it's genuinely interesting. I think rather than us chat about the market all the time, it's really good to get the, just to get your take on it, especially with someone like yourself. Like I say, you're highly regarded as a people manager, so it's really interesting to see how what all your thoughts on it. But we will edge back towards the kind of market and that kind of thing, and what the podcast is about. But let's talk about that. Let's talk about how you guys are seeing it at Roma. We talked before, didn't we, about the positive mindset you need to move into these type of years. But talk to us a bit more about kind of what you expect and what you expect from your teams.
Yeah, listen, I think this over the last 3 years, there's been more twists and turns in the financial services market than ever before. We briefly touched on 2007, 2008 previously, but I think for this one, it's about sometimes you have to look at, will the volatility create an opportunity? So if it's if you follow the same path through, regardless of the twist and turn, the journey gets really, really difficult. If you allow yourself to have a look at it and say, well, actually, there is a speeding up in the house, there's a mass demand for housing. Okay, what should we do? We do X. Right, okay, the exit market we know is falling away. So, the other side of going, the quasi-quartang exit market's crashed. So we've got all these developers. What do we do with these developers that we can create an opportunity for them? Is it about, the opportunity for refinancing them or whatever it is? How do we work with them? Because those twists and turns, for a business to be agile, you've got to be mindful of your customers are going through those twists and turns.
Yeah.
And your colleagues are. So how many colleagues, when you stood at the front and you're talking about the state of the money market, their energy bills are doing this and the fixed rates are coming off, how are they affected? So having clarity about how you maneuver through those things can sometimes give people a little bit of confidence. So for us at Roma, we've always looked at volatility can create opportunity.
Yeah.
But only in a certain section. And in the other section needs treatment and it needs a bit of care and attention. And navigating through is certainly something that we've seen previously.
And I'm sort of going back to the leadership thing again, but obviously you're with a team, you haven't been through it before. Some of those guys will be younger and they haven't been through it before. How do you because for us, I think it's a genuine, this will pass. I think we can be a lot calmer about it. It's tough. We have to work a lot harder to get where we need to be, but it'll pass. Same as the good times pass. It's not the end of the world. But some of these guys, I think, it's nearing the end of the world. It's a killer for them. They're here to earn money, quick money, and move on with their careers, etc. And they're kind of stunted. How do you deal with that as a manager and as a leader?
So one of the things we did is we pushed it up that our MD, so Scott, we did an all company address, and he broke it down in what it actually means. So you've got all this information at your fingertips now. It used to be you'd only really find out about it when you read the paper in the morning and watched the news at 10 o'clock at night. Those were your 2 points. Now everyone's
on your phone all day long. Yeah,
pings on your phone. You've got reels, you've got all this stuff that goes on. Everyone's a financial expert. Everyone lives in these echo chambers. So actually what we said is let's put a voice across of how Roma are interpreting the marketplace and what we are going to do about it. And then it allows people to make informed decisions. And you have to be upfront and honest to say, if it is going to get rocky, you talk about being rocky.
Yeah.
You don't surprise people with it. You say that, our effort, where we're all effort here, we're directing the effort over here, and this is what we're going to do. And we actually still see that there's a way through for us, and this is how we're going to navigate this path and how we're going to get to that end point. And we communicate effectively, and you've got to keep everybody informed.
Yeah.
One of the risks you can do is you hit a bump in the road, and a board or an exec will clump together, think about it, talk about it, get out, get themselves comfortable. Yeah, right, we're all comfortable, right, and they do it. And then you've still got 95% of the business who are still dealing with a bump in the road, unsure how to navigate it.
Do you think that's changed quite a lot over the years? Because I think we're a bit more Americanized when it comes to openness now. You know, they're always quite across the pond. They're relatively open about everything, aren't they? And they keep everyone in the loop, and it's all. But we've always been quite insular with like management and that kind of thing. Do you think that's changed quite dramatically since you've been doing it?
Yeah, I think it does in some places. You know, I think it depends on how ingrained the hierarchy is, how big the business is.
Yeah.
You know, it's dead easy for us at Roma to say this is what we should do and let's do it. And if we said it on the Monday morning, we can have the comms out by Monday afternoon.
Yeah.
You know, we don't have to think about multiple branches, multiple people.
I know.
We didn't have to think about all that. We had to think about, as a leadership team, is this the right message to give?
Yeah.
It is. How do we get that message across? Face to face, town hall, okay? And then how do we follow it through and keep people updated? So I think agility does come with certainly in specialist lending. You know, some of the people that you've had on will talk about this as well. You've got to navigate through, haven't you?
Yeah.
You just got to navigate through, but being open about it gives you the best chance of hitting the destination.
I think being open about it's pretty good for retention afterwards there as well. It's a bit like the Band of Brothers thing. You know, you've been through it. You will work together to do this. I think it's a great retention piece afterwards. Like this was the worst it was going to be, and we've seen it through. So I mean, although you know, specialist lending wasn't hit. You know, wasn't one of the worst hit, was it? Realistically, Bridgend was pretty good. It was.
Well, Bridgend was good, but you know, the secret of a good bridge is working on the exit. For the exit market was so you had sales became less fluid, refinances became less fluid. The buy-to-let market obviously has really struggled. So again, you know that you can attract new bridging. Yeah. But then your effort has got to be, well, the bump in the road is with your existing borrowers. How do we work with them to navigate through this? How do we get them on board with what our plans are? So you need to get your colleagues on board that this is our messaging. Then you need to be authentic in your piece to the borrowers to say, well, actually, you've hit a bump in the road here. We can extend your loan. We can do a refinance option, or actually, you know, we can work with you on a different exit strategy. Being mindful, but at the same time, at the front end, we're saying to the guys, well, you know what? There's a load of buy-to-let properties come on the market now. People who haven't bought for a long time because the prices are too high are back in. So let's get the bridge in. You know, they want to act fast. So let's use our Roma flow proposition, and that's the way we want to target that market whilst we incubate and look after this piece over here, because this bump in the road is not going to derail for the next 3-4 years. It's not like a 2007, 2008 piece. It's a blip.
Yeah.
There's a bit of normalisation that needs to come in. We're starting to see that the chain of housing is opening up because first-time buyers are being more realistic now and probably going back to what a first-time buyer used to be.
Yeah.
So a first-time buyer for the last 10 years, somebody's first home has been a three-bed detached new build. Yeah. That was the aspiration. Yeah. You know,
start with your apartment like everyone else, all right? And wait.
Apartment, terrace, semi-detached. That was the ladder. Yeah. That's the whole point of the property ladder. Now it was, well, actually, I get a 3-bed detached, and then I'll get a 4-bed detached with a garden off, isn't it?
Because money was cheap, wasn't it? Money was cheap, and you could get what you want.
Money was cheap, and I think that there's that normalisation of a bit of realisation for people to say, well, I can still move, but my expectation is this.
Yeah.
And the market starts to become fluid again.
Yeah, good. And how do you see it panning out this year? Do you see it just keep kind of moving towards that positive trajectory, or do you think we're going to remember where we are for a bit? Where do you think we are?
Yeah, I put like, listen, what an exciting 2 weeks it's been.
Crazy, isn't it, the last couple of weeks?
It's felt like someone turned the light on.
Yeah.
And because people are sort of looking past, and maybe there's been that consolidation where people can start to think about the plans. One thing's for sure, if the saving rates are going up, the money's got to go to work. You know, so the banks and the specialist banks, the money's got to go to work.
Yeah.
The normalisation of the housing market coming back in of this is where we are now. This is what it looks like. The realisation of the first-time buyer of what they can achieve for their first property and supporting them through it. The feeling that we may get the rate cuts. I think it's
that confidence, though, isn't it? It's not as shaky. Even if this is it, it's still going to be better because we know what it is. It's that.
Yeah, but I can be honest with you. There's going to be another bump at some point. There's going to be a nice surprise at some point.
We're going to have 3 years now of just purely making money, everyone enjoying themselves, buying property, recruiting, all of the good things. None of those bumps. Done with wars, done with pandemics, done with elections.
Well, I think we all use COVID as a barometer, don't we? So, well, it's post-COVID. It's pre-COVID. We had Brexit.
Yeah.
Pre-COVID, we had all these bumps. Navigating things through is nothing new. It's just exhausting.
That's what I mean. Just a couple of years run at it. Just with the normal market. If you can have such a thing as a normal market.
You can't, because the graph's never like that, is it?
Nah.
Any market graph is like that.
Yeah.
For everything, you look at a stock, you go to buy shares in a business, the graph's like that. It's never like that.
Yeah.
So you've got to be wary that it's like, and as a business owner yourself, you'll know, in the last 5 years, you'll have built your toolkit up of how to manage adversity, of how to lead people through adversity, of how to pivot your business at a moment's notice. You'll have built that toolkit up stronger in the last 5 years than you did in the last 25 years.
But now I've built that up, it'd be quite nice just to not have to use it for a bit.
Yeah, it'd be nice to leave it in the shed.
Yeah.
A bit like doing up a house.
But I'd like it the walls don't keep falling down, so you got to build them up.
Listen, I think we'd all love it. I think we'd all love a nice competitive marketplace where we continue to do. But that's lending, isn't it?
Yeah, but I also think again with the positives of last year, got rid of a bit of deadwood. Everyone sharpened their tools a bit, as we keep saying. Everyone got a bit better. There are some positives from it, and actually, I think we're exceptional at what we do, and we actually benefit from a slightly worse off market, because kind of when it's easy, right? Everyone can do it. There's hundreds of people doing the same thing. But when it's hard, you benefit from being good. I do think there's some benefit to a slightly tougher market.
There is. I think there's two different types of businesses. The ones who pull the drawbridge up and go insular, or the ones who look at they will, when the drawbridge comes back down, they'll be what they were beforehand.
Yeah.
Or the ones who say, well, actually, this is the opportunity to invest in technology. This is the opportunity to challenge this piece of process that we do. This is the opportunity to, there's great talent in the marketplace.
Yeah.
We might not need them today, but by God, would we have had them 6 months ago? So let's get them in now, because they can really add value into our business. And actually, we can give them a nice, so acquiring good talent, working on your processes, working on your technology, and working on your culture. If you're doing that instead of having, and still keeping an element of business, batten down the hatches.
I used to say this all the time to people, but I went for a whole year of going into the city to speak to people, and they were saying, you're the only person that's coming in at the moment because we're not doing anything. And to me, that blew my mind, because when we come out of this, we've got a bigger market share than where we went in. And I thought that from the beginning. I do think long term, but it's that long term thing, isn't it? I've been in it a long time. I know that if I keep pushing now, in 3 years' time, I'll benefit from it. But it's hard to see that, I suppose, if you've just been making money quite easily and you've never had to really sort of dig in.
Well, growing a business in a growing market is what everybody else is doing around you.
Yeah.
Growing a market share is a completely different piece. And if you present it we've been presented with the opportunity to grow a market share. So you either batten down your hatches, pull up your drawbridge and say, well, we're going to go insular and then we're going to work on everything. Or
do what we can.
You go out there and you have a go.
Yeah.
You have a go and you make mistakes, you make successes, and you be authentic as a business and you be authentic as people.
Yeah.
And you'll learn through it. And at the end of the day, at least when you get to the end of it, you can say we had a go.
Yeah. I think that as well. Like, what are you risking? And again, I think maybe it's because it didn't come from money, but it's just money. Like, I love business. I love growing the business. I love taking a risk to grow it, because at the end of the day, I can recruit. If it all fails, I can make money again. You know what I mean? It's not the be all and end all, but you've only got very few opportunities to really grow your market share. Like you say, it's next to impossible when everyone's doing it. You just stay in the same, stay in a bit more money. But we're given these rare opportunities, aren't we? And you either go. You've got to grasp them.
You've got to grasp them, and that all comes back down to: have you surrounded yourself with the right people? Have you brought the right culture into your business who are ready to grasp it, who are ready to be bold and be brave and have a go? And that all comes back to: is it the skill set that you pick, or is it the
behaviours,
the appetite, the personal behaviours?
Yeah.
And if you're picking the right behaviours, you can teach. Me and you, if with 3 years of intensive training, we could be the best plasterers in Manchester if we wanted. We could plaster everything. 3 years intensive training, but at the same time, you can teach any skill. But you've got to have the will. Well, if we never had the will to do it, we'll never do it. So anybody can be taught anything, any role, but you've got to have the will to do it.
Amazing. Thank you, mate. I normally ask for a good tip at the end, but that's perfect. That's a great way to end it. I appreciate that, and I appreciate time. I did say half an hour as well, and we've been 49 minutes.
I told you I'm a talker.
Yeah, me too, mate. Yeah, both at the same time. I spent the whole time thinking to myself, don't interrupt, don't interrupt. I live my life like that. Listen, don't interrupt, don't interrupt. But I appreciate your time. If anyone wants to get hold of you or anyone at Roma, what's the best way? Obviously, all of your details will be on our socials, but if anyone wants to speak to you, what's the best way of getting in contact?
Well, there's a few ways. My email address will be on the contacts at the end. Just contact me on LinkedIn or reach out to anybody at Roma. We'd love to hear from you. And we're here to help people with prosperity through property. Yeah, amazing. Thank you very much. Appreciate your time. And thank you, everyone, for listening and watching on YouTube. Thank you very much, Michael. I'll speak to you soon. Cheers. Thanks, everyone. Thank you. Bye.